Hi, we have some new features in Freepik Spaces that can help you with batch processing. We have some new options for groups and a new type of node. So I'll dive right in to a space and show you how that works. The first thing we're going to do is try to translate an ad from English into every European language. So I have created an ad in Figma, and I'm just going to drop that PNG file onto the canvas. So we now have my creation here. We can rename it to add, and you can see that's a bit of text here, and this is what we want to translate. We don't want to translate the name itself, spaces, so let's keep that. The first thing I'm going to do is to create a list of all the European languages, and in order to do that I will actually start with the assistant node. So with the assistant node, there's a new feature. So let's start by adding the assistant node up here. In the prompt, I will then ask for the assistant node to create a list of all European languages. And the new feature here is that you previously you could hit run and then you would get a list of all the languages, but it will still be text format. So the new feature is that you can now export this as a list instead. So when I click here and then hit run, it first creates a result from the LLM in the background with text, but then it splits all the different results in that list into individual elements in a new node. So you can now see there's a list node here with all the different languages, 55 in total. So let's rename this to languages. We can also, just for the sake of it, we can try different things. So right now we have 55 languages. We don't need maybe all of these. So what I can do is I can choose to maybe shorten this to 10 languages, maybe the most popular 10. So what I can do here is that I can, instead of keeping items, if I run the assistant again, it would basically add another set of languages into the list. But what we want to do now is that we want to replace the list with fewer languages. So I'll change this to replace items. I'll go back to my assistant, and then we can say max 20, choose the most popular. So now when I hit run, it will create the list of the 20 most popular languages, and it will now replace the list in our new list node. So now that list went from 55 to 20. So let's continue with that instead. If we want to change the image here, we can actually create a new image generator, and usually you could only send text to an image generator as a prompt, but you now have the option to also send a list. So what will happen is, now that we have connected a list, is that the image generator will now be able to run one single time every time there is a new language in the list. So for the prompt, we can then choose to say translate the copy of, and then we need our ad. I'll connect that to the image, and then we can say add, choose add, and then we say we want to translate it into the list, and we also want to keep the name spaces. So we're now asking it to translate everything else than the name itself. And you can see here I'm referring to a list in the prompt, and it means that every time it runs, it will replace where it says languages here with a value from the list. So now that I hit run, let's choose a good image model, Nano Banana Pro, and we should also try to get the right format here. So this one is 5.4 like this. So what happens now is that when I hit run, the output of the image generator will also be a list. It will be a list of images. So you can see I run, And now as soon as the first images are starting to finish, it will create a node here, and then it will start, you will start seeing every new image pop up in a grid. Okay, now we have all the 20 results, and you can now zoom in on this node here. There are two options. You can have a grid view or a list view, and you can double click. You can check if the quality is good. So you can see here. So it kept the namespaces, and then it translated each of the copy here, including the text on the bottom. If I want to download all of them, there is an option to export, and then it will create a zip file, and then it will be able to download everything at once. That's it. That's a new feature for working with list and batch processing in Spaces.